Good morning, everybody on YouTube. This is Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services. It's a very early morning. It's about 7 in the morning. Anyways, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on this Ampex VR 7500. Just wanted to explain to you, when you're trying to replace 50-plus-year-old capacitors, that are, we're talking, this is a very old machine from 1967. Sometimes it's really hard to get an exact match. Anyways, I wanted to point out on some capacitors I did put in yesterday and some other ones that I got today, actually. Anyways, these blue capacitors are a very oddball value, 640 microfarads. That's a very oddball value. Most of the time you get them like 600, 700. I mean, 640 is a very weird value, okay? Anyways, this is a special cap, and as you can see, the size of the cap that fits on the board where it plugs in, because these are cards that go in sideways, okay? You gotta have that, they gotta be tight and snug where the board can fit in the slots. What I've noticed was, the company I use to get capacitors, Ted's Online, they happen to have the exact replacement for this, because these were 640 and the can is exactly the same size. But these are made like in Mexico, and the original ones were made like in Malaysia or something like that. And but as you can see, these ones from Mexico are the exact size and they fit perfectly. I was just blown away that I was able to get these. This was my main concern about capacitors for these boards, was these big cans that mounted on these particular boards, especially these two. This board not so much because it's out, it's got a lot more room. But these two boards don't have much room for mounting the capacitor. And I'm sure I could have downsized some capacitors that could have did the value, but I wanted to replace it with the exact value. And they came in yesterday and they had the exact same size. I was blown away. So this video circuit board restoration for this VR 7500 has come along really, really good. Also, I needed to get a can capacitor, a twist. These are a little smaller. I'm going to make them work, but I needed it to be at 2,000 microfarads by 50, and because the can that's in there is a lot larger, it's at 2,000. I'm going to work it till I could get it to mount and replace it with this one. They even had this one, which was pretty cool. It's 2,000 by 50 volts. It's a twist can. It's part of the audio circuit up on top, and I did order 2 of these. As you can see, I had the mounting hardware for it. I'm just going to have to isolate it with some black electrical tape so it doesn't ground out, so I can make my connections and mount this, and actually mount this to the actual board itself. But anyways, we're getting the capacitors in a little at a time. Capacitors, like I said, for a machine like this, I'm trying to get them to all be an original match. I don't want to have to sit there and bridge capacitors to make values, or they're too big and they don't fit. You run across that a lot because capacitor values have changed in design and sizes. But we're able to get the exact size. I was worried about these capacitors, hoping they wouldn't be too big and they'd be the right size. These just fit. They're almost the exact same size on the can. I was just blown away. And these are made by 2 different places. You don't see that very often. But these are fresh electrolytics. I did take these off the board and I cut them open. Oh my God, with these capacitors, a disaster. Not only were they leaking out of the sides of the cans, they were dried out. They were like a powder when it's supposed to be an electrolytic. I mean, just complete garbage after 50+ years. So changing out the electrolytics on this machine is a must if you have this machine. I recommend it to anybody who tries to restore a Ampex VR 7500, because these capacitors are all the same age. And when we restore a machine with good capacitors, you're going to get it back up and running like when it was new. I don't mind taking the time on this machine due to the fact of how old it is and the massive restoration tape transfers I'm going to be doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We do have more caps. I will give you an update on all of these other caps I'm going to be putting on as I do the boards. When I'm done, I'll show you all the boards when they're finished before I actually install them in the machine. Hope you enjoyed this video.